All right, greetings. Is This is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres, and tonight is the Anyone Can Farm question and answer live chat, and I am your host, Mark. And let's see, let me give you a little overview of what Baker's Green Acres is. Baker's Green Acres is an 80-acre farm in northern Lower Michigan. The name of our town is Marion, Michigan. And if you know anybody, or McBain, if you know anybody from Michigan and you ask them where they're from, they'll go like this. Well, I'm from right about here, So that's kind of where the Michigan looks like a mitten, and we're right about there in Michigan. And then there's the Upper Peninsula. You got to go across a bridge up here, and people will call that the UP, the Upper Peninsula, and people from there are called Upers, right? So we're not Upers. Don't claim to be. I like the UP, but I live in northern Lower Michigan. So then down here you have the Detroit area, Lansing. That's where the capital is, and it's a completely different world there. It's very, very crowded, and it's nothing like up here. All right, we're kind of in the boonies. Some people would call it the boonies, right? But that's fine with me. I like it up here. So we're an 80-acre farm, and we started this place out in 2004 when I got out of the Air Force. I retired from the Air Force after 20 years and change, and wanted to start farming. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I kind of was like a lot of new people. I just had kind of stars in my eyes about the farm life and all that stuff. And I got involved a little bit with industrial agriculture. Not a whole lot. I had a job working for a summer, working for a guy that does custom cutting, and I guess you'd call him industrial ag. And then I was working on semis for a while, and I drove a semi a little bit. Took a load of pigs down to Indiana. Didn't like that too much. I got to see what that whole hog house scenario looks like, and loading pigs on semis, and the slaughterhouse really was a turnoff. That was just, I'll never forget that. I did not want to be part of that. Some of the pigs couldn't get off after just like a 4-hour ride, five-hour ride. So, nah, I didn't want anything to do with that. So that was my taste of that. And then I kind of got into the small farms side of the house, but I was still doing business through, with a license from the state. And, my butcher shop was licensed through the Department of Agriculture and all of that. And then we found out exactly what that was all about, which you all are finding out right now, if you live in Michigan, what that's all about. Because in Michigan right now, the governor has said that you have to wear masks if you want to go into stores, and she's putting it on the store owners to make you do what she wants you to do. And if the store owners won't do what she wants them to do, then she will take their license away. And so that's the downside of licensing through the state, is eventually they're going to have the final say on how business is done. And I find it kind of ironic in a way. I know I'm just trying to explain to you who I am, but I find it ironic in a way that there's a lot of talk now about this one's fascist, this one's anti-fascist. And I think people don't really know what fascist means, but if you look up the definition of fascism, fascism is privately held but government run. Okay? So if the governor can say to a store owner, I will take your license away In other words, I will shut your business down if you do not do my bidding. There you go. That is fascism at its finest. So, kind of interesting. So anyway, I don't have any licenses through the state anymore. I don't do business with restaurants, retail stores, or farmers markets. And I don't recommend doing that because you've got to say Mother May I to the, hey, I came in here because you guys were out there. All right, get it done. Get it done. I'm online right now. All right. So, anyway, I don't have any licenses, and we just do business with other families and other citizens, directly from our farm to them. And we totally bypass that whole system of having to be involved with licenses and things like that. Because they can't force other citizens to get licenses, right? So that's what that's what we do right now. We still have a decent amount of production, but we just don't do business with retail stores and restaurants. Okay, so that's where we're at. We do beef, pork, chicken. I have a butcher shop on the farm, so we do all of our own poultry, and we also do custom poultry processing for other people. And we do other stuff too. We have a big garden. I grow a lot of crops for my animals. So my animals are probably my biggest customer, and that's been going good. So we've gotten it down to kind of a science. We cut a lot of hay. This is our 16th year doing this. We cut a lot of hay. We create a lot of food products. We build a lot of things. We have a pretty good sized maintenance shop where we make things, we repair things. We're pretty much just a homestead, but we're inquisitive people and we like what we do. Should I move outside? Okay. All right, so things are good. So we started this Wednesday night up as a Q&A because we just were fielding many questions. And so we said, hey, we'll do a Wednesday night YouTube, we'll answer questions, and then it goes out to more people. All right, so this has gone pretty good. We have been doing this over a year now, and then we've gone to 5 nights a week where the format that we've used most often lately is we have a theme that we begin with on Monday night. We develop it Monday, Tuesday, and then do the Wednesday night Q&A, and then hit it a little bit again on Thursday, maybe finish it up, and then Friday we just do open line Friday. Whereas basically the same as tonight, it's just that we can talk about your stuff, not my stuff, So that's kind of what this is all about, and that's what we're all about. We do a lot of teaching here on the farm. We have classes every fall on hog processing, and we actually travel around the country and do classes at host farms. So if you're ever interested in any of that, you can contact us, see what that's all about. But we call that the Anyone Can Farm Hog Harvest class, and Anyone Can Farm Hog Harvest on the road. This year we're going to Maine, we're going to Beaver Island, we may be going to New Hampshire, but that's not nailed down yet. And we're doing 2 classes here on the farm, one in November and one in December. So that's what we're about. Our poultry is a pastured poultry operation. I'm kind of under the tutelage of Mr. Joel Salatin. He's written quite a few books. I recommend his books. I have met him a couple of times. Good guy. He's out of Virginia, and recommend that if you haven't done any of his books, you haven't read any books, I recommend that you get them all and read them. They're good books. They'll give you a good start on what you need to know about the homesteading business. So without further ado, I have Miss Jill here sitting by on the laptop, and she fields questions and throws cold water on, what do you call them? Trolls. All right, so we have trolls. So we must have a pretty good message. I would ask you, if possible, that you could share our website. It's bakersgreenacres.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's Baker's Green Acres YouTube. Give us a thumbs up and a like, and if you could, interact on this broadcast. It pushes things along. Because if you haven't noticed, there is a little bit of censorship going on, and a lot of times our message is seen as a little bit too realistic for some people. So it doesn't make it in the algorithm like other ones would. So if you can help us out there, that'd be great. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So I'm ready to go. I can take questions. We like to take questions about farming, homesteading, and just anything having to do with just life in general. So I'm ready to go.
All right. Cody wanted to know, do you have any experience with any heritage hogs except Mangalitsa's?
Yeah. We only really two. We got a large black in trade one time many years ago, and I mixed it into this herd, and now occasionally we'll get pigs that will come back to us, and I'll see Wally in there, and he was a large black red wattle cross, and he was really good, and I think that's a pretty good heritage breed as well. Both of them, red wattles in. And we did a class one time out in, where was that, Ohio? It was right on the border. And what's banging out there? Is it the door? And the host farm had 3 pigs for us to use for our class. One was a Mangalitsa, one was a red wattle, and one was just a standard farm pig, a white pig. And the red wattle was really a good pig, very deep, dark red meat, and a nice fat cap on it, not as much fat as the Mangalitsa. The Mangalitsa was outstanding, always is. Mangalitsa is just a good breed. The farm pig was dismal. It's just dismal, right? And I did a pig, I think it was last February. It was a Berkshire, and that was dismal as well. It was just a terrible pig. So, yeah, that's about the extent of my experience with other heritage breeds of pigs. If I was you, I'd get a Mangalitsa. That's the best way to go. Get breeding stock too. I mean, I don't think they're really that expensive. It depends who you go to. I know you'd asked me about breeding stock, and I quoted you $500 for an intact male, I think. I never heard from you, so you must have thought it was too expensive. But people sell them for $1,500, $3,000, and I really don't understand that. But people buy them, you know. But if you get breeding stock, you're actually making an investment in your farm, because one pig, or a breeding pair will produce you for many years, a couple of farrowings a year, and even if you sell your feeder pigs for $150 a piece, it's a good source of income. So I don't think $500 is too much, and I'm certainly not going to go lower than that. Okay.
All right. And then we need some more questions. Kathleen wondered, have you ever fed spent brewer's grain to your pigs?
No, I never have. Only because I never got any, you know. But I know plenty of people that do. The only time I've heard two cautions on feeding pigs. One was for cherry pits. The vet lady that lives near us, friend of ours, told us that when she was in vet school, they said that, if they eat too many cherries, they break open the pits, and those pits can react with the cherry juice and the acid that's in the stomach of the pig, and it can create something that can be very detrimental. I heard that, but then I've heard people say that they feed lots and lots of them and they've never had a problem. As a matter of fact, today I heard a post like that on the Mangalitsa page on Facebook. And the other thing was brewer's grain, because it's very high in protein, but the type of protein that it is, the animals don't digest it well. Now, I heard that from a guy that has been raising pigs all his life, and he lives in the Upper Peninsula, so he must know what he's talking about, right? But there again, I've never known anybody that's overfed pigs anything. So you can do it, and let's say that you can only get like a truckload of them. Take it, because it'll just go back to the earth. It'll go back to the soil, so it'll be okay. All right, how's that?
Let's see. Kathleen had a follow-up one kind of, she had another question and then Lone Star's question.
What if she got her stitches out?
What do you do with your boars after you're done breeding them?
Is this Lone Star or Kathleen?
Kathleen.
All right, you're asking what I do with my boars after I'm done with them. I feed them to my dogs. That's what I do, because and you can go on several sites, and even there's people in this group that have said, well, we butchered one and everybody liked it. They thought it was great and they want more, right? I even know a lady in Maine that likes that taste, all right? But boars have a taint to the meat, or there's an additional flavor there. To me, it smells like when you urinate on the campfire. That's what it smells like to me. And every time that we have butchered a boar, we encounter that smell. And, I don't know what to tell you on that. There's people that have said, no, they don't have it, that Mangalitsas don't have it, that, you can buy a meter from off the internet, that you can do this, you can do that. We've not had that experience. We've had boar taint every time. Sometimes people will say, well, if you keep them back from keep them from any sows for a breeding cycle, or sometimes they'll say 3 months, that there won't be any boar taint. Tried that. We've had people tell us that, well, if you castrate them and wait 3 months, we did that. They didn't have boar taint, but they were tough, right? And I'm not interested in putting a boar who has served me for many years through the trauma of having his testicles cut off, when he's fully awake. I'm just not into that. I did it, and I didn't like it, and I'm not going to do it again. So I shoot them, and then when we butcher them, it's a great training aid for if you have kids that want to get into it, and they don't have to do a real neat job because we're just chunking the meat up and the fat up and the organ meat up and put it in 10-pound bags and freezing it. Because I have guardian dogs on the farm. Well, Kathleen knows it because she's been here. And the guardian dogs on this farm are as important as the livestock that they serve. Without the guardian dogs, my livestock operation would really be in tatters because we have so much predation here in the rural area, in this rural area. Lots of predation. We have, you name it, we have it. No wolves, but we have everything else. And so these dogs keep my poultry especially safe. The other night, we came home from a graduation and we're coming up our road and we saw a skunk coming our way. So we were pulling up behind him and my son goes, "I'll get him." And so he went and got a rifle and went after him, and he had already ducked. But then I went out to the chicken tractors and I could smell skunk. And on the way out there, I saw one. I got him. I got out by the chicken tractors and there was 3 of them. I got 2 of them, and one of them got away. And we kind of tracked him for a little ways, and I don't know. I took a shot at him, and I thought I hit him. But then by the time I climbed through the fence, Joe was holding my gun and the flashlight. By the time I climbed through the fence and went to where I thought he was, I was being really cautious because I didn't want to get sprayed. He was gone, but I think I got him. And one of the other ones that I got, I just left him lay there, and the next morning, he was gone. So I don't know who took him at night. Maybe it was an owl that came and got him, but he definitely did. It was definitely gone. And I don't know. So predation is kind of a problem here. But anyway, so that shows you how important my guardian dogs are. So if my boar, who might be 500-600 pounds, then becomes food for them, he's not being wasted. I tell you what's a waste is you put him through a bunch of stress of castrating him, and then you take him to the butcher, which nowadays a date at the butcher is premium. You take him to the butcher, you have all this nice stuff made, you go to pick him up, you write a $500 check to the butcher, and then you get it home, and it tastes like you just urinated on a campfire. That would be a waste, because then you're gonna feed it to the dogs anyway. That happened to us. That happened to us, and I think maybe that has something to do why we always taste it. But we had a boar out in Montana, our first place. He was big. He was really big, and I got some of his blood on my hands when I shot him. He was a good boy, you know. I didn't want to do it so much, but I mean, he had to go sooner or later. And I plugged him, and I got his blood on my hands, and I smelled it, and it smelled, whew, that stinks. It smelled like urine, kind of. And when I came home from work, and Jill had picked up all those products from the butcher, there was a familiar smell when I walked in the house, and I went up, and it was all these nice meats laid out on a platter. And I could smell them. And then when I ate a little, it was like, oh, I can't eat this. And it was frustrating because the butcher did an excellent job, but it tasted like being on a campfire. So, yeah, a little story to go along with that. So I made presents of a lot of that to my friends because, like, it didn't really affect everybody. And I would say, you know, I had a guy that I hunted with, and I said, "Here, you want some of this? Try it." He says, "Yeah, that's good. I like that. Here you go. Here's a stick of it." I gave it to him. And then about 2 years later, we were at a church potluck, and I saw some really nice meat on on a platter, and I thought, ooh, I'm gonna get some of that. I got it back to my place. I'm ready to dig in. Get it right about here. Gordy, that was his name. Yeah, it was like a couple of years later. So there you go. That's what we do with our boars, and it's of good use. Those dogs have to eat anyway, and if you buy good quality dog food, it's costing you money.
We're ready?
Are there any more questions?
Yeah. Lone Star wondered, any land around you for sale? I hear the capable are moving out of the cities because of current events.
Yeah.
And follow-up related to that, do you have any neighbors that are not like-minded? How do you deal with that?
We shoot them, and then we put their land up for sale. No, there is land for sale here. As a matter of fact, there's 80 acres right next door to me for sale. And people have been poking me about buying it, you know, because we could swing it, but and when I think about it, then I think, well, then I got to cut a lot more hay. Like I cut hay all day today, and I'm not complaining because it was a really good cutting, super good cutting, and I'm gonna have all the hay I need. I was a little worried about that, a little bit. I was concerned. I wasn't worried. But then I think, I'm committed, you know, because I got to make that land work for me. And so I'm the one that has to put the back into it. And I don't know, I think I think I would rather just hone this 80 acres to a fine edge. But you know, I could buy that, and then I could just cut the hay off of it, and then I could build a house on it, and I could rent that, but only to, you know, I'd rent it to somebody that's like us, you know, of course. Well, not like us. I wouldn't want to live next door to us. But I don't know. Yeah, I've thought about it. Yeah, and people are moving out. I mean, you got to move out now, even if you believe half of what is being said. Okay, you know, they're going to defund the police like they're going to do in Grand Rapids. I cannot believe that. They're going to defund the police. And so all the people who break the law regularly are going to be like, all right, no chance of going to jail. We can get away with anything we want. So they're going to find out how bad that of an idea that is. And it's kind of too bad because a lot of innocent people will get hurt. We were at some place this weekend at a graduation, and it's in a really nice neighborhood. But a couple neighborhoods over, it's not a nice neighborhood, and you don't belong there. And the people that live in those neighborhoods, they stay in those neighborhoods. Why? Because the police don't let them leave, all right? When the police see them in other neighborhoods where they're looking to steal and do other things, the police ask them what they're doing, and so they go back to their neighborhood. But once the police are gone, there's not going to be anybody that can say, hey, you get out of here, you don't belong here. And now with the, you know, with the latest mantra out there of Black Lives Matter, well, if you ask somebody what they're doing in this neighborhood, they're going to be, yo, man, don't you know Black Lives Matter? Oh, yeah, I guess that's right. Why don't you come on in? Come on in. And the same group that wants all this to happen, they want to disarm you too. So I would be getting out of the cities too. I think that it kind of occurred to me today that if that's how they want to live, then good, live there. But if you live there and you don't like that way of life, move out. Come out of her. Come out into the perimeter. But, you know, I'm certainly not going to move into the city and say, hey, you guys need to do things differently here. I'm not. So why should I be concerned if they're going to defund the police? If you want to, go ahead. Crazy things happen in the city anyway. and it's just going to get crazier. I don't think that, that shenanigans is going to fly too well in the country. People are too well stitched together and don't put up with crap. And so,
Then the dog commented, they'll find out that if there's no one to stop them, there's no one to stop me.
it works both ways. It really does. I mean, you saw in St. Louis a guy and his wife come out. It just so happens, I think they were big supporters of Black Lives Matter. They come out of the house when all these thugs and peaceful protesters, had come onto their property, broke down their gate and come on their property. And so old boy goes out there with an AR, and his wife is waving around a pimp pistol. And they made those people go away. They made the peaceful protesters go away. But then the cops showed up, did a search warrant on their house, confiscated the guy's AR. So that guy's like, I got to get out of here. I can't live here. Yeah, right, brother. You can't live there. You can't. But once the police are gone, let's say you live in one of those places and the police are gone and there's really nobody to come after you as well, I don't think you'll just be brandishing those weapons. I think you'll be firing those weapons. And they're going to have people to come pick up dead bodies, because I'm not going to allow my family to be ravaged by those animals. I'm just not going to do it. And I don't think most people would. But, I don't know. It's the seems to be the enemy of the people are the mayors and governors, like the governor of our state. Although she's pretty much lost control, because people are just mocking her now. And what the stores are doing, this is really cute. The stores are putting signs up that say, masks are required. If you are not wearing a mask, we're going to assume that you have a medical condition. Welcome. So nobody can hold the store accountable. The state can't. Of course, the state doesn't really have the ability to project its will anyway. They got a handful of state policemen, and then they wanted all the sheriffs on board, and the sheriffs are saying, oh, no, we got to get elected here pretty quick. We're not going to do this. So most of the sheriffs, the ones that I've talked to, and then a whole bunch of other ones, I've only talked to 2 of them, and a whole bunch of other ones have come out and said, no, we're not going to do this. Well, in reality, they can't, because the sheriff is sworn to protect and defend the constitutional rights of his constituency, right? And so the governor comes out with an executive order that on its face is unconstitutional. Why is it unconstitutional? Fifth Amendment says your life, liberty, and process or property is protected under due process of law. She hasn't got a law, and she's restricting your process. She's saying you have to put a mask over your face. That's not my process. Sorry, sister, I'm not doing it. So, is she going to sick law enforcement on you? Oh, that's right. They're law enforcement, all right, not fatwa enforcement, or not executive order enforcement. So the sheriffs are not going to do this. This doesn't mean that you can go in and you can fight with the greeter at Walmart. Don't do that. Just go in and say, got a medical exemption, and keep on trucking. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to have a doctor's note. None of that stuff. All you have to do is state it. And that's it. And if you think that I don't know what I'm talking about, if you go in to any store, let's say you're in a wheelchair or you have a cane out in front of you, a white cane, is the greeter going to say, how do I know you're not faking? Is he going to start like throwing things in your face? No. And then can a store say to you, we don't let blind people in here. Get out of here, blind guy. No, because in this country, it is against the law. Americans with Disabilities Act denotes law, that we've all, are representatives. We're a representative republic governed by a constitution. our representatives have voted on our behalf, and it is signed into law by the governors. Those are state laws, and then you have federal laws. But the Americans with Disabilities Act is a federal law, and it states that you cannot deny service to someone based on their disability. Okay? So a guy goes in a wheelchair, get out of here, Stumpy. We don't serve. You can't do that. So if they deny you service because you cannot wear a mask, then they can be a compromising position once you've stated, I have a disability. You just keep going. You know, there's nothing they can do. There's really nothing they can do. If they call the cops and say, a guy came in the store and walked right past us, they're going to say, we'll leave him alone. But if you're belligerent with them and you stand there and try to get them to change their policy, which isn't going to happen, and F-bomb them and everything else, then they'll call the cops and they will trespass you, which means the store is saying, we no longer want you on our property, get out. But that's based on your belligerent behavior. I wonder how that would work if you had Tourette's syndrome. And the guy says, you got to put on a mask. And he said, he started swearing at him. It's a disability. I'm sorry, I have Tourette's syndrome. I don't know how that would work out. But we went into a couple stores yesterday and we just walked. We just walked in, and I don't think that they really want to lock horns with us. So nobody said a word. And I just if you want to know, I think it is your responsibility to push back. And the stores are gathering this data, and they're saying, well, I don't think we're going to do this. We're going to take this out, and we're going to put up a sign that says, we assume that you have a disability if you do not have a mask on. And then when you have these people out here in the street that are going to say, put your mask on, you're going to say, you know, sir, maybe you should assume that there's a reason I can't wear a mask. You know, maybe before you open your big fat trap and before I put my fist down your throat, maybe you should, well, some of the people do. What was that question about?
Land and neighbors.
Yeah, I would move out. And look, this isn't news to me. Anything that's happening right now, it's just as though they've turned up the intensity of it. This has been going on like this for a lot of years now. And when Jill and I got out of the military, let's move to Minneapolis. No. How about New York City? No. You know, and we came here because her folks were here. But if they weren't, there's no way I would have moved to this state. Absolutely no way. Up here, it's very conservative. People keep to themselves, and they leave each other alone. Down in the city, oh no, it's not. People are in each other's business all the time. And in my opinion, look, if we have this election and it goes in the direction that I would like to see it go, just because I want to see Rachel Maddow keel over and die, it's still going to be 4 years of this same type of thing going on. If the other guy wins, we're not going to be able to drive our fossil fueled cars anymore. And oh yeah, there's going to be no police, and they're going to tear down the wall that, you know, there's two sides in this country. And in my opinion, there needs to be some state lines that are redrawn. And like the cities need to be broken off from the rest of the state. And if they want to live that way, fine, you live that way. But you don't have the ability to dictate to us up here in this part of the state how we're going to live. You know, I think it needs to change. And it's usually in those high concentration of people. That's where they go. That's where the communists seem to go. And I don't know, but I think there needs to be a separation. I do, because they're not going to change, and we're not going to change. And if they have their way, they're going to disarm us. You know, we don't go to them and say, hey, you need to arm up. There needs to be a law in this town to arm you up. We're going to come and beat your door down in the middle of the night just to make sure that you have guns. You got to have those guns. We don't do that, right? But their side says every time something crazy happens with a gun, it says we got to take everybody's guns away. And you see what a nut house this would be if you took everybody's guns away, if you got rid of the police. Everything that they want to do is off balance, big time. And I just don't see how we're ever going to kind of meet in the middle. I think those days are over. So there just needs to be separation, I believe. No, not like North and South Korea. Not really. I mean, that's not it. I mean, there's just two different mindsets in America, and there's the conservative and the liberal mindset. And no, we're not going to separate like, east and west of the Mississippi. That's not going to happen. It just needs to be like city states. If you look at the states that have had the biggest problems with this COVID-19, I mean, you can kind of see the problem areas, and it's just the real hot spots in coastal areas mostly. Of course, we have one here in Michigan, or two in Michigan, three in Michigan actually, and then Chicago. And these places are bad. I mean, Chicago is really, really bad as far as shootings and stuff like that. Detroit's not that bad because everybody left. I mean, really, all the working people have just left because there's nothing there. So then there's nothing to steal. All the houses have been completely gutted. So there's hardly anybody there, So it's not as bad as it was because everybody's just kind of left. And the criminal element, there's nobody for them to steal from anymore. They're kind of killing each other and stealing from each other. So, yeah, I don't know what the answer is. I don't think it's going to be an easy one. It's sort of like winner takes all every time there's an election, and this is not good. I mean, it's pretty much been split right down the middle, and it's tough. It's tough. It wasn't all that bad when Obama was president because we just kind of had to grin and bear it. I did not like him. I did not like his wife or his husband, whatever it is, and I did not like their policy at all. And but he was elected, and we grinned and bear it, and we did the best we could through the process. But now we have a guy that's standing up and putting America first, and they hate that, and I just don't get that. Here's something that I heard a long time ago, and it has been rattled around in my head for a long time, but the president is portrayed by the mainstream media as this kind of wild man that's sitting on his toilet at 2 o'clock in the morning, half loaded, tweeting. Well, first of all, the man's never had a beer, has never taken drugs. So he's not doing that. And from what I can see, time has told that he's a very intentional guy. And when he makes a statement, although you may just think that he's just kind of going off the cuff, he's not when time passes. But he made a statement. He says, the American mainstream media is the enemy of the people. Now, if I was the mainstream media, of course, my worldview is different than theirs. They do lie a lot, right? And when you're caught up in that world of propaganda, I don't think they realize the implications of what they've done, or the implications of when a man like the POTUS, any POTUS, I mean, the most powerful man on the planet at the time, makes a statement like, that is the enemy of these people. What a precarious position that puts them in. all right, because he is sworn, and it looks to me like he's taking it pretty damn seriously, of protecting these people, all these people. And, you know, the mainstream media, I mean, you might as well lay the cards on the table. They have an effect over people that have just watched them continuously, and there's been no break in the action. Sort of like the frog in the boiling water thing, quip, whatever they call that. And so they've just been taken down this path of deception. And there's people in my family that are smart people, but they are totally deceived by what they've been told. And they buy it. They buy the mainstream media's drivel. They buy it hook, line, and sinker. And they are told that we who question everything, I don't care who it is, I question what they say, and I look at it in context. I use my own intellect, my own sight, my own smell, my own feel, and I don't let some commentator tell me what I should think about something. Like I told you guys before, the time is over for playing make-believe. All right, the time is over. I'm not going to play make-believe. I am the little kid that's watching the parade and the king's going by. He's got his new clothes on. I'm the guy that says, hey, he hasn't got any clothes on. I'm that guy, you know. I guess I wasn't smart enough to learn how to play the game. But I'm not going to make believe anymore if there's something that is wrong. It's wrong. I'm not going to play Caitlyn Jenner. Oh, she's a guy. She's a girl right now. I'm so excited that she's going to be on Sports Illustrated magazine or wherever else she's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. That's a guy. It's a dude. And it's a sick dude, too. It's a real sick dude, a 65-year-old guy that wants to put dresses on. That's not right. And I'm not playing make-believe anymore that, oh, isn't that nice? You know, I don't care. If I am going to lose a lot of people who are my friends because I won't make believe with them, then I don't want them for friends anyway. So this mainstream media thing, a lot of us have seen through it for years. And, you know, the president isn't really saving me from them. He's actually saving the people who hate him the most, who have the derangement syndrome. And he's saving them. You know, he's actually going to save them from the direction that the mainstream media would like. Or at least I believe he is. That's the plan. And every time there's a situation where it seems like, ooh, this doesn't look good, just give it a few days and you start to see that, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. This is all part of the plan, and the sledgehammer is going to drop. So it's going to be some unhappy campers for a while, but you know, we're all wrapped around the axle right now about face masks, but there's some really heinous things going on in the States that needs to get straightened out. And I believe we're seeing this happen. Of course, you know, we don't have the need to know of what's going on. We don't. We're citizens, and we hire these people to take care of business, and they are. It used to be we were hiring people to take care of business, and they were like, yeah, we'll take care of business, all right. And those people are being cleaned out. And, you know, I'm hoping for better days. I'm hoping for a time when people who are successful businessmen take a respite from their business. Hey, Lone Star, thanks, man. From their business. I didn't see what he said there, though. What did Lone Star? But when we take a respite from our business to serve our country. And, you know, is being a county sheriff, is that fun? Is that fun? Oh boy, wouldn't that be great? No, that would be one of the worst jobs that you could imagine because you have to deal with a lot of deception, a lot of liars, and some of the worst people. But if you feel that it is your duty to do that, if you see the significance of one county that is gone constitutional and you see the effect, that can be a wedge that can drive a county, it can drive a state in two, in two pieces. And when you see that and you say, well, why don't you run for sheriff? You know, you're not, it's not going to work. You're going to have to be the guy that does that. So, and General Flynn said this, I think it was last week or the week before. He says, I'm going to need a lot of you guys to step up to the plate. So I heard that. And, you know, one of the reasons why I was so quick to be on the phone with the sheriff to say, what are you going to do here? Because another guy is running against him, and I would coach him, and I would say, if you want to get elected, and you will be a constitutionalist, if you will learn the Constitution and be that guy, I will help you. And so that's why I made those phone calls. But they may never get it. They may never understand it, and they may never understand the urgency of being that Connie, that constitutionalist. One guy can make such a huge difference. You wouldn't believe it. Everybody's just waiting for that first guy. So we better get ready. You know I'm getting ready. I did not run this time, and I kind of think everything works on a timeline if I am faithful to what I'm supposed to do. And so I was waiting. Nope, I'm not going to run. And the time went by when I could register to run. And I said, okay, well, then what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to get this place running like a sewing machine. So if I ever had to leave here for 4 years to sheriff that county, then I wouldn't be leaving a mess for my wife and whoever had to take care of it while I was gone. So that's things like, you know, this windows that need still be fixed here from a long time ago that I have to get around to. There's roofs that need to be fixed. There's a lot of maintenance jobs that have to be done. And so I've said, okay, well, that's what I need to do. So that's what I'm doing. Like, I'm kind of like a freelance patriot, and I'm taking my orders, but I'm waiting. And in the meantime, it's time for me to get my equipment lined out. Time for me to get things ready. Because I didn't get orders this time. Do you understand the significance of the statement, grab your popcorn? It's showtime. Do you know what that means? That means you're not in this act. You're not going to this. You're here to watch. That's a nice way of saying you're going to sit on the sidelines and you're going to eat your popcorn, keep your mouth shut, and just watch what's going on. When we need you, we will call you. But we don't need you right now. That's the significance of that, and I'm sure you've all heard that. And that's I'm in the same position. You know, I'm not needed right now. So I am hanging, waiting. All right, so is there another question?
Yep. Where do you go when you need new stock?
Well, I have kind of a network of people that I work with. And so usually I can ask one or two people and bingo. But through this program, I stated one time that I needed a red Mangalitsa boar. And one of our chicken customers actually contacted me and said, I've got one. And so I purchased one from her. So, you know, there's a lot of different places that you can go. It depends to what you're looking for. You know, if you're looking for Mangalitsa, that's a little bit specialized. If you're looking for, you know, other things. A lot of times, doesn't Craigslist, do they have livestock on?
Yeah, Craigslist
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you can see them on Facebook, people just don't say.
Yeah, I don't
They
think
have to
they
be
can
a little
sell
cagey
them.
about it. You
You
just
can't
gotta,
sell them. You can say rehome or something like that, but you can't say for sale. Oh, that reminds me, like on, all right. So if you have something, if you're looking for something on the tribe, you can certainly say, I'm looking for this, right? Yeah, that's easy. Because then it gives the other people that may have it the opportunity to say, okay, I have that. And then you can do a PM type thing. But there is kind of a rule that our mod, who moderates a couple of sites, says, no, you can't have self-promotion on there. So you can't go on to the tribe page and promote, you know, your business or your page, right? Because then it would just be, it'd be full of that. And so there's just a kind of a blanket thing, no self-promotion. And of course, you know, it does belong to us, so we can, obviously, we're promoting this and we're promoting what we're into. So I guess we can, but you can't. But I guess we can because we made the page, I guess. So I guess that's why. Make your own page. Next question.
what age to butcher so that you don't get boar taint? It's
It's
a
the,
follow-up from your previous question.
well, they say if a boar isn't sexually active, then you won't have boar taint. That's a trick. What do? Ask them, you know, what is, you know, so I don't know. I don't know on that. If you don't want boar taint, learn how to castrate and do it, you know, after a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. It's not hard to do. And that's,
We have, it's like a $10 deal to get your whole thing on our Baker's Green Acres video
Okay.
course.
yeah, there's a video course on castration on Baker's Green Acres. So spend the $10 and then you have it. Then I have your $10. But it's the only thing that I do. I don't cut tails off. We don't cut eye teeth off. You don't need to do that. We did it once, and then I said, why are we doing this? And then when I researched it, it's like you ever notice how in industry a lot of times somebody has a good idea, and it seems like a good idea, and it makes sense, but why were little baby pigs designed with those little teeth? I mean, they came out of the mom like that with those little teeth. And then people decide, well, it's the same thing with their testicles on them. And then man decides that, well, if I want to eat this thing and I don't like the way it tastes, I just cut his testicles off and he doesn't taste that way. So I guess that's a design issue too. But we don't cut needle teeth off, and we certainly don't cut tails off. That's an industrial agriculture thing. So we don't do it. But castration, I don't think is such a big deal when they're young. It's just 2 tiny little cuts, and boop, they hardly even notice, and then they go rub it in the dirt, and it's fine in 15 minutes. You'd never even know it happened. So just do it.
All right, I got one more question. So
All right.
if people have questions, they need to type them in.
Put them up or shut them up.
Yep, and thanks for the thumbs ups.
Thanks for the thumbs up. And thanks for the $20, Lone Star. Lone Star, are you thinking about getting out of Texas? Coming out to Michigan? You'd be a good next door neighbor.
Come visit us in December. Hopefully.
Yeah, you should come to our class.
This is Jack's question. What's the process to get my place registered as a farm? Right now it's registered as a residence.
You mean, you're talking zoning?
Yeah, either zoning or maybe taxes. Because like right now we're classified on taxes as
Yeah.
a farm, agriculture. And that's a
Yeah.
pretty hefty difference.
It is a state by state thing, and when the lines are drawn for zoning, I have a real hard time with that because they're actually they're making decisions on where to draw the lines, and those lines affect you. They affect your process. So I have a problem with that. And there, sometimes, some places, some townships are like, oh, you can only have one chicken here. And it's like, how are they going to enforce it, you know? And are they going to send law enforcement? A lot of times they actually have people that are called zoning enforcement, and they dress them up to make them look like policemen, so you'll just kind of do what they say. But if you just don't do what they say, I don't think they can really do very much. They'll send letters to you. But, you know, you have to push back. You really have to base your operation off of your constitutional rights. So you have to make them play by your constitution is the rules, but they behoove you, not them. So they're always trying to push it. And if you are saying to some zoning officer, that's a good sounding name. If you're saying, "Hey, don't you need a warrant to come on my property?" Then you obviously don't know. If you're asking him, but you should know, and you should find out exactly what it means, and dig into that Constitution, and that is the law of the land, it's the supreme law of the land. So, what I'm saying, Jack, is it probably is going to be a state by state thing. It's even a county by county thing. Like I live in a county that has no zoning. I don't know exactly why. You know, I wasn't here when they decided we're not going to do this, but they don't. There's no zoning here. So if I wanted to set up a residence next door, I could. And it would be zoned, it could be zoned residential. Of course, it behooves you to be zoned agricultural. And sometimes townships are like, well, if you don't have any fences and you don't have any animals, then you're not agricultural. And then they'll charge you the residential rates on a piece of property like an 80 acre piece of property. And that would be horrible because you would be paying so much. But they like that because they get some of that money into the coffers at the county. And they're all about taking money from you because, you know, they don't really work. So, yeah, that zoning thing is a real pain. It's a real pain. I don't like that. That was the whole issue with the Hidden Creek incident. And as it turned out, the township totally backed down when the Constitution was brought and put in their face. But there, you know, you have to really, you can't just mention the Constitution. You got to get it out, you got to quote it, and you got to say, hell no, I ain't doing it. You can't make me, and maybe even threaten to sue the township for a lot of money. And townships can be sued. Oh yeah, they can be sued. And when they're sued for more money than they're worth, you can put them right out of business. And that's not a bad idea. A lot of those people should have to go and get real jobs instead of, you know, the Tony Barnes model. You know, goes into work and does nothing all day except irritate folks. That's something you'll have to check, Jack. And then unfortunately, you start asking questions, you're going to be asking questions of the people who want you to change your status from residential to ag status the most. They do not want that because that means they can take less money from you. And unfortunately, the time to inquire about that is before you purchased it. And I understand that you've purchased property now and you're clearing it and doing stuff like that. I would try it. I would try it. I would certainly, because it makes a huge difference in what you pay in property taxes. I think property taxes are incorrect anyway. Why am I paying a tax on something I own? And who gets it? And why? what have they done for me? What have they done? What have they done for me? You know, they're taking money from me because I own something, because I worked for something and got it. I just don't really understand that. It seems like theft to me. Taxation is theft. I've heard that before. Yeah. Next question.
What are my questions?
All right. We're at 6.
Mine says 65.
All right. Well, if that's it, folks, I thank every one of you for coming by tonight, and thanks for the questions. Thanks for the super chat there, Lone Star. Hope to hear from you. And let's see. Okay. All right, Kaleidoscope, we'll see you. Good night. We'll be back at you tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Thanks for coming by.